Hello, hello. Thanks for dropping by my little channel. We're going to look at a couple of pens from Conklin today. They kindly sent me a couple to look at and share with you guys. These are both Conklin 1898s, but they are very different, in my opinion, of what I've seen online. I haven't unboxed these yet, but let's open them up and take a look. So let's look at this one first. So this one is the Conklin 1898 Misto Purple. So this is an interesting one. They have a couple of different colors. I think they had the Misto Green, Misto Orange, and Misto Purple. And I kind of like pinks and purples the most, so I went with this one. So let's take a look. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, this looks like earth. Oh my gosh, that is swirly. This is nothing like the ones that I've seen on the previews. So I thought they would be a little bit more pink in there and purple. This is more sort of like blue and red, and there's a teeny bit of purple here, but very sort of like Earth from space looking. It's kind of cool. So it is super interesting, just not what I was expecting. And I think that's the thing with sort of these poured resins. Because they're all so different and unique, you never really know what colorway you're going to get. And then if we open it up, do we have any purple in here? Oh, nope, a little bit more blue. So more sort of the sea and the swirly patterns here of clouds and such. So yeah, very interesting. We have a beautiful rose gold plated stub nib. I chose the stub nib because I haven't tried the Conklin stub nib before. And I believe this comes with a converter. Yep, so we have the converter here so we can put any ink we want into it. So that is super fun. As far as the grip go, the grip section, it's nice. It's not too thick. I'll compare it to a couple of other pens just so we can look, but I really like the weight of the pen. I like the grip section. You can feel the threads, but it's not uncomfortable. It's not really digging in. There is a bit of a step up here, but I have yet to write with it, so we'll see. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. And again, with these types of sort of poured resins, if you were to buy one of these, it's going to be completely different. The swirl patterns, I think they all have these sort of similar kind of swirl patterns. So it's quite a tight swirl. It's quite a defined pattern here rather than it sort of morphing into each other. It is more like, to me, like a pulled candy kind of swirl. So very pronounced. The color separation you can see quite clearly. There is some really interesting bits of resin here. I'm not sure if you can see them, but they are kind of translucent, which is kind of fun. I don't believe there's any shimmer in here at all. These are all just sort of solid colors. It is a very, very soft and shiny finish. All right, let's have a look at the other one. Okay, so this other one is the Spectra Fusion. So this one is very interesting. This one is a combination of resin and wood. Ooh, wow, this is lovely. Eva, congratulations on your new pen. Ooh, and this is a satiny, soft finish. Oh, how interesting. Wow, and this wood is much more golden yellow than I thought it would be. So it's this really sort of matte, off-white resin that is, it's a little bit satiny, but it is very, very soft and smooth. And it blends right into this wood here that is quite yellow. And there's definitely some beautiful sort of chatoyance in that white resin. Oh, that is lovely. I really, really like that. We have the beautiful cap band again, which is the same on the other one. We have a different clip on this. I think that is really classy. I think it's what I read that it was a callback to their crescent fillers. So it looks slightly Visconti-esque to me, but I think it looks absolutely beautiful with this resin. It just matches it really well. It makes it quite classy. And I am really surprised by the color of this wood. Oh, and there's some engraving on there. I'll try and zoom in as much as I can, but it says limited edition 0292 of 1898. So I guess they only made 1,898 of these, and this is number 292. So that's kind of fun. I don't think I've had a limited edition pen before. So yeah, this is stunning. I really, really like this, and I love the texture of it. It's very smooth and soft and almost sort of satiny. It's lovely. Let's open it up. Oh, that was closed quite tightly. And then inside, we have the grip section here You can see that chatoyance right here, nice and pearlescent. I do wish they had have gone with the color all the way through, like the other one that we just looked at, like the Misto. Instead of putting the chrome here, I think it would have looked kind of nicer to have it all streamlined as just the white resin. But maybe there's some kind of manufacturing reason for that, or maybe they just wanted it to be a little bit different. But I think it kind of breaks the flow of the resin between these two parts. It doesn't look bad. It looks nice because it goes with the nib. This one I actually got a fine nib, I think, but I think it just would have looked a little bit maybe higher end if it just had the resin all the way through. But yeah, really, really pretty. Oh, I love this one. And the weight is nice. We'll have a look at the grip sections compared to a couple of other pens in a moment. But there you go. This is the Conklin Spectra Fusion. They have it in another color, which is the blue, but I really wanted to see it in this sort of creamy white color just because I thought it would be just a little bit more subdued. So yeah, let's get out a couple of other pens and we will compare the sizes and such and take a look. So first off, I thought I would just compare it with a couple of other Conklin pens and a Monteverde pens. These brands are all under the Yappa brands. So we can see that the 1898 is a little bit bigger than the Conklin Crescent Filler and a little tiny bit smaller than the Monteverde Trees of the World. If we uncap these, we can see their writing length. So as you can see, they are pretty much all the same length when you're going to write with them, so uncapped. And the grip section on the 1898 looks very similar to the one on the trees. Let's just have a closer look. So yes, almost identical, I think, to the Monteverde Trees of the World. So, but a little bit different to the Crescent Filler. There's a little sort of indent and lip on the Crescent Filler that is not on this one here, which I think I will prefer. I like it to be a little thicker, so the grip section is a little bit thicker there, which is nice. Okay, so I've just lined these up on the nib here because this is where you're going to touch the paper, and they seem to be a little bit shorter than both the Eco and the SD. The grip sections, let's just pick up this one this time, are a little bit quite similar actually, probably in width to the SD. So if you like the SD, I think this would be quite a good fit. So that's interesting to see. And then on the Eco, I think it's quite a little bit thicker than the Eco. So that's interesting. So there you go for grip sections. So as for ink, I think I'm going to fill these up with some Private Reserve inks. I'm going to see what matches. I thought this was going to be a little more purple, so I was thinking that the plum was going to go well with that, but it is definitely more blue. So I need to look at whether we need to mix something up or if I have one that will go with that. So let's take a look. Okay, so here are all the mixes that I did with my Private Reserve inks. So let's see if there's something that matches this Misto Purple first. So let's zoom in a little bit. I think the Daphne Blue is a little bright for this, so I still kind of want to do maybe something in the purple realm. So these are these top inks mixed with the Velvet Black. And I think that one would go really, really well. Even though there isn't a ton of purple in the pen, I kind of like the depth of that one. So that's 2 drops of plum to 1 drop of black velvet. So I think that could go really well. Or actually, even maybe this one here. So I think the plum by itself is a little bit too vibrant. But maybe one of those two would be good. Ooh, we could actually go with one of these Daphne Blues mixed with the plum. I think that one looks quite nice. Even this one at the top here. So this is 1-to-1. Actually, that one's really good too. Let's have a look with the cap off because we do have a bit more of that blue in there for this one. So I think that this one here would go really, really well. So that could totally be a contender. On this one here, I think that one is wonderful too. Oh, that's such a beautiful subdued purpley blue. That I really like that one. That one could go really well. So I think we'll probably go with this one here. I think that one looks great with that. And then for the Spectra, I have a lot of pens inked up now with sort of autumny colours still, so oranges and browns. So maybe I want to go something sort of contrasty. I really kind of want to go with a pink maybe. So we could do this soft pink here to sort of hint back to the softness of this resin. I do like this one, that's sort of the orangey, pinky brown. So I think that could go really quite well. Again, the browns are going to look fantastic with it because of the browny orange of the wood. But I kind of want to go with a contrast. Ooh, see, look how lovely that one is. That one would be great contrast with this sort of orangey yellow here. The plum actually looks quite lovely with it, just the straight plum. So we could do that. The Daphne blue actually looks quite lovely with the contrast as well. Ooh, I don't know for this one. The plum by itself, which I think is pretty cool. Maybe we'll just go with the plum by itself. I don't have it in a pen, and then we don't have to mix anything. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll just go with the plum. Okay, so we're going to go with the contrast. We're going to go with the plum with that, and we're going to go with this beautiful mix here. So let's do that. All right, so for our Misto Purple, we're going to go with this mix here. So one Daphne blue and one shell pink. So let's mix that up. I'm going to use my little pipetter here just so that I can get easier amount of ink and a more accurate amount of ink. So I think I'll just make maybe 1 ml. So I'm just going to change it on this little dial here to be 0.5. Normally I use this for creating ink samples for ink swaps. So it's a very useful tool. You can, these wash out super duper easy, and you just change it to a new one when you do a new color and then wash them all at the end. Okay, so I have 0.5 here, and we're going to do the shell pink and the Daphne blue, and then we'll use the plum for the spectra. Okay, so let's get our little vial here. So I've just got an empty ink vial. I've got this attached nice, and you've got to push this on really well so that it has a good seal. Then we have our shell pink. Now these private reserve bottles are amazing because they have such a huge mouth here, and all you do is you just put your hand here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to half press down, and then you put it in, and then it's going to suck it up when you release. And then to push it out, I'm going to push all the way down on this one. And as you can see, it put some ink in there. Maybe I want to do more than 1 ml. Maybe I'll do 2 mils. So now the hard bit is that I've released it already. So it's going to go everywhere. So I'm going to put it back in the vial and half press it so that if it does expel some ink, it's only going to be into this little vial. Okay, then I got my other half, push it all the way out. Then we're done with that. And then to get this off, you just press this little button here. It's out of screen, but it will push this white part into the black part and just push it off for you. Then I just put that in my container to wash later. And I just use a big takeout container like this and fill it with water. Normally I have them with water, but I had emptied them out. So I just put it over there. Then we're done with our shell pink. And we'll get our Daphne blue. So we'll do the same thing. And the nice thing is that this is all clean. This doesn't have any ink on it. So you just put another new pipette tip on there. Do the same with this. I'm going to do 2 of these, and we'll make 2 mils in case it's really lovely. And I might have to fine tune this a little bit after it's mixed, because when I do those mixes, they're pretty informal. So it might be that they're not very accurately mixed for the color. So I might have to tweak it a little bit. For the most part, it will be in the wheelhouse of the color that I want. So I'll just pop that off for that. Okay, so we're done with our measuring. I'm going to put this on and shake it up, and we'll see what color we have. Okay, so let's see if it's anything close. Oh, it's quite close. Maybe we need a little bit more shell pink, I think. Yeah, it seems a little blue. I'll wait till it dries a bit, but I think I want to add just a little bit more of the shell pink to make it a little purpler. So I think what I'll do is I'll just use an eyedropper. So I have a little eyedropper here. And maybe we just start with 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to pop that over here. Mix that up again. Okay, let's see if this is a little bit more. So I might just wait for that to dry before I add any more pink, but I think we're doing pretty good. It might actually be a little bit too much pink, but I think for the pen, that's still going to look pretty. So let's go with that. All right. So I think what I'll do is just put it directly into the converter here. And I'm going to do the same for the Spectra as well, because I don't want to get it on the white. So all I did was leave a little bit of room at the top, because if you fill it all the way to the top, when you put this on, it's going to spurt out. So that's perfect. And then we're going to have to, well, we can prime what we can do is we can twist this a little bit to prime the nib. So it's going to push a little bit of ink into the nib and the feed. And then we'll just let gravity do the rest while we ink the other pen. Let's put this one to the side, and we're going to use the plum for this one. And seeing this is a clean converter, I'm not really worried about contaminating my ink pot here, so I'm just going to directly put it into the ink pot. If I had already inked this pen up, or oh, this one has a screw converter. I don't think the other one had that. That is very interesting. Let's just check. Pretty sure it just popped in. Yeah, so this is just a pop-in converter, and for the Misto. And the Spectra actually has a screw-in converter. I wonder if that's something to do with the manufacturing of this. I'm not quite sure, so I have to remember to screw that in, not just try and shove it in. So as I was saying, if I had already inked this up and rinsed it out, there would maybe be a little bit of water or ink residue. Especially, I don't dip the nibs into fresh jars of ink. I would decant some into a sample jar and use it from there. But for this, we can just put this in, because this is a nice clean converter with no ink residue or water to contaminate this jar of ink. But normally, as you can see, I have little things of this. I always ink from here if I'm using a pen that I've just bought, if I'm going to dip it in with the nib. But this seems fine to me. It's completely clean. So I'm just going to do the same as what I did with the other one. Dip the converter in there. Make sure it's not too much ink all over that. And then I'm going to pop it in. Well, actually, I'm going to screw it in. And then we will prime the feed a little bit by pushing it through just a little bit. And then we'll let gravity do the rest of the work with that. I'm going to close this up before I spill it. Pop this in our pen. I hope I don't have any ink on my hands, because I'm afraid that I will stain this beautiful body. All right, so I am just going to leave these standing this way for a minute, because I filled them by converter rather than through the feed and nib, so I need that to sort of feed into both of those, and we'll come back and we will do some writing. All right, so I think these have been sitting there long enough. The ink should be through. Let's do a little writing sample. Okay, so this one is the Conklin 1898. Wow, this is a chunky nib. Conklin 1898, and this is the Misto purple. And this is a steel. Wow, it is such a wet nib. Steel 1.1 stub. I believe it's a number 6. And oh, I love this ink. It goes down so blue and then starts to go pinker and pinker. I think that's why I was having trouble identifying it when I was mixing it, because it was actually a really close mix at the beginning. So this is our first one. So the 1-to-1 was actually right, and I just kept adding the shell pink because I thought it wasn't purple enough, but I think this turned out perfect anyway. And our ink is Private Reserve. And this nib, oh wow, it is a great nib. You know, I have been really impressed with these Conklin and Monteverde nibs. They are so smooth and just put down so much ink. This is putting down a lot. I know it's a stub, but it's very, very wet. What did we do? We did 1 times Daphne Blue, and then maybe 1.25 times shell pink. We'll just say that. Shall I do some figure eights? Look at that, so smooth. Super wet. Lovely. And this colorway, you know, it's not really my type of colorway. I was kind of expecting a little bit more purple and pink, but I could see how people could love this. I think it is super interesting. Probably not in my wheelhouse, but I still really like the swirly effect of it. It's kind of cool. I think I like swirls that are a little less defined, that sort of blend into each other, and this is very sort of agate style, sort of when you cut a gem in half, it sort of has these very well defined swirls. So although not my super cup of tea, I still can appreciate the intricacy of that and the interest of that. Okay, so now this other one that we have is I hope I'm in frame there. This one is another Conklin 1898. So, whew, this is so wet too. Conklin 1898, and this is the Spectra Fusion in white. And oh, we've got a little bit of bleeding here. You know, sometimes these private reserve inks, if there's a lot going down, which this pen is super wet, it will sometimes bleed, but I don't see any up here. Maybe it was my hand oils that did that, although I had this paper on there and you can see a little bit on the F. Yeah, so that's a little disappointing. Not quite sure why that is happening. Maybe just because it's running a little wet. Maybe I will try this off a bit and see. Maybe it was just overfilled. All right, so Fusion, and then we have a steel fine nib, number 6, and then our ink is Private Reserve in the plum. And this is a beautiful color. I love it. I love the contrast with the pen. I think it looks great. So let's do some figure eights here. Super duper smooth. And although that doesn't, oh gosh, got ink all over my hands. Yeah, so I absolutely love this one. I think this aesthetic is gorgeous. I am very impressed with how they sort of blended these two materials together. It is super duper satiny smooth. I think maybe I would have liked to have seen this sort of continue through the body of the pen, just like other, like the other Conklin. I think that may have been a deliberate sort of either engineering decision, or just because it is white and chrome, they wanted to sort of carry that through a little bit more in the body. But I really like it, but I think it would look sort of a little more classy if it didn't have that. Other than that, I really like it, and I love this band here, and also the arc on the clip. I just think that's really, really lovely. The rose gold on this one is really nice. The clip is really sort of bouncy. So yeah, I think these are really interesting pens. I am so glad to have been able to try them out. I have been interested in the 1898 for a long time. Atlas Stationers have a beautiful 1898 Conklin. I think it's the golden abalone. The material is absolutely stunning, so I've had my eye on that one for a long time, so I just wanted to try out the body of this, and they are super comfortable. The nibs, I think, are fantastic. I truly underrated, actually. I didn't think they were going to be this lovely. The stub nib, super duper thick, super duper wet. All the nibs I've tried from Monteverde and Conklin have been fantastic. Yeah, so I think that just about sums it up. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!